Well, we live in interesting times, don't we? Including interesting constitutional times. Some people are calling it a constitutional crisis. I don't think that that's the correct understanding of it, but there are interesting constitutional questions on the table, including questions arising out of the very set of circumstances that you just described with President Trump and the district judge. We've got a constitutional system, thank God, largely designed, of course, by James Madison, and that system will work. What will happen here is the president's actions vis-a-vis the judge will be appealed. It will probably go all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will rule on the key questions. I can't predict precisely what the ruling will be, but in the end, everybody will comply. I do not expect, as some people expect, President Trump to defy a direct order of the Supreme Court. He may defy the district judge on the grounds that the district judge is now trenching upon executive power under the Constitution, getting out of his own lane, usurping the authority of the president. But he's not going to defy an order of the Supreme Court of the United States. If he did, we then would be in a constitutional crisis.
So that's the tipping point.
Okay. The tipping point. Well, we got a system. Here's the thing, Chris. Here's what I want to say to our fellow Americans. We've got a system. It's a good system. It's worked we're getting on now for 250 years, and it will work this time. Don't lose your faith. Don't lose your trust in our constitutional system. The genius of our founding fathers will once again prevail.
Okay. Mahmoud Khalil is a green card holder who the administration seeks to deport for his role in the Columbia University's anti-Israel protests. But it's part of a larger debate around free speech. The writer Andrew Sullivan posed an interesting thought experiment. He said if this were the Biden administration and non-citizen Jordan Peterson were seized, kept from lawyers, sent to a blue state with pliant judges, and then deported, how long do you think it would be before the free speech right objected? I know the situations are not perfectly analogous here, but it does seem like something is happening to what we used to count on as sort of the free speech absolutism on the right. Is that giving way, or is something else going on here?
Well, not all of us are giving way, but it's true that some people here are at risk of behaving in an unprincipled manner. Andrew Sullivan and I have amicably disagreed about many issues over the years, but he's on to something here. It's very important for those of us on the conservative side, and I would hope that people on the left side of the political spectrum would also think it's very important to be principled. We stood up for campus freedom of speech through the woke period when so many people on the left were driving that engine that came to be known as cancel culture, when people were being basically erased or disciplined from disciplined in their positions as students or as faculty members on college campuses for speaking their minds on controversial issues and defying the campus orthodoxy. We have to take the same stand here. Now, the Khalil case, I have no sympathy for Khalil and for his support for Hamas, but it's an interesting case. The president here is invoking an act of Congress from the late 18th century. It's not an act that has fallen into desuetude, though. It has been enforced over the years. The president here has a colorable claim. It will have to be tested in the courts. And once again, the courts will, at the end of the day, render a judgment about whether the Trump administration is stretching the Enemy Aliens Act too far here, trying to reach an individual who's here on a green card, married to an American citizen, but who is not under the direction of a foreign government, and it doesn't seem to meet some other requirements under the law if he is in fact to be deported. Once again, it will go to, eventually, I suppose, to the Supreme Court of the United States. The courts will decide the issue, and the president will comply. If the president fails to comply, then we're back in a constitutional crisis.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.